All right, let's get right into it. Today we're tackling one of the most chilling and just plain strange mysteries in aviation history, the Valentich disappearance. I mean, this is a story that starts out as a totally normal everyday flight and ends with a bizarre radio call and then just nothing. Pure silence.
And really, that's the question at the heart of all this, isn't it? How does a plane just vanish? You've got a pilot, you've got his plane, the sky is clear. 1 minute, everything's fine. The next, poof, gone. It's the kind of thing that has kept people up at night for decades.
So, let's paint the picture here. This whole thing doesn't kick off with some crazy storm or an engine on fire. Nope, it all begins with a flight that was about as routine as it gets. You know, the kind of trip pilots make all the time. Except, well, this one was going to end in a way nobody could have ever predicted.
Okay, so let's get the basic facts straight, the stuff we know for sure. Our pilot is a young guy, Valentich, just 20 years old. He's got about 150 hours of solo flight time. Now, to be clear, that's enough to know what you're doing on a flight like this, but he's not exactly a grizzled old pro, right? He's in his Cessna 182L, it's a clear evening, and he's flying over the Bass Strait. That's the chunk of water between mainland Australia and Tasmania. Should have been a simple, straightforward trip.
And this is where the story goes from a simple missing person case to something else. Something truly strange. It all comes down to Valentich's final, very bizarre radio transmission with air traffic control. Okay, so it's a little after 7 p.m. Valentich gets on the radio to Melbourne Air Traffic Control. He sounds pretty calm, but he's got a question. He wants to know if there's any other air traffic near him. The controller checks, and the answer is a firm no. But Valentich, he's not convinced, because he's looking at something out there. And here's where things take a hard left turn into the weird. His exact words, and this is crucial, are, "It's hovering and it's not an aircraft." Think about that. He's not just reporting another plane, he is absolutely positive that what he's seeing is something completely different.
So naturally, the controller on the ground is trying to get more details, and Valentich starts to describe it. He says it's a large, long object. It has a shiny, metallic surface and 4 super bright lights. And the speed, he says it's moving incredibly fast, way faster than any plane he knows.
And then things really escalate. This thing, it's not just flying past him. Valentich reports that it's actually interacting with his plane. He says it's orbiting, circling right on top of his Cessna. You can imagine his voice is getting a little more urgent now as he describes a green light and that metallic-like finish.
And then comes the final, absolutely chilling part of the transmission. Right after Valentich says his engine is starting to act up, his voice cuts out. For the next 17 seconds, all the air traffic controller can hear is this bizarre open mic sound. They described it as metallic, scraping sounds. And after 17 seconds of that, just nothing. Silence.
That was it. Valentich and his plane were never heard from again. And what came next was a huge, desperate search to find out what happened in those final, terrifying moments.
I mean, the response was immediate. They scrambled everything they had. Military aircraft, civilian boats, you name it. For 4 straight days, they scoured this massive patch of the Bass Strait, over 1,000 square miles. They were looking for literally anything, an oil slick, a seat cushion, any tiny piece of floating debris.
And you know what they found after all that? Absolutely nothing. Zero. Zilch. Not one piece of wreckage, no personal items, not a single trace of that Cessna or its young pilot. It's like the plane was just erased from the sky.
So, with absolutely no physical evidence to go on, the official investigation basically had to throw its hands up. The final conclusion was simply, cause unknown. And whenever you have a vacuum like that, you know what happens. It gets filled with theories, speculation, everything from the totally plausible to the truly out there. So that's the big question, right? What in the world actually happened to Valentich? Since the official report gives us no answers, let's walk through the 3 biggest theories that have taken shape over the decades.
Okay, so there are really 3 main camps here. Theory number 1 is pilot disorientation. This suggests he got confused, maybe flew upside down without realizing it, and what he was seeing was actually his own lights reflecting off the dark water. The problem with that, he sounded so calm and clear on the radio. Theory number 2, he staged the whole thing. Maybe he wanted to disappear and start a new life. It's an idea, but there's just no evidence he was planning anything like that. And man, what a risky way to do it. And then, of course, there's theory number 3, the UFO abduction. This one is based on his own words, his detailed description, plus the fact that no wreckage was ever found. The huge counterpoint, though, is that it's an incredible claim with 0 independent witnesses or physical proof.
You know, without any solid answers, you'd think a story like this might fade away, but the opposite happened. The Valentich disappearance has only grown in stature, becoming this legendary aviation mystery.
I mean, just think about it for a second. We're talking decades later. Our technology is worlds beyond what they had in 1978. We have satellites, deep-sea submersibles, all of it. And yet, we are no closer to solving this case than they were the day it happened. Officially, the file is closed, but for everyone else, this mystery is as wide open as ever.
So why do we keep coming back to this story? What makes it stick with us? I think it's that perfect storm of elements. First, you've got that chilling audio. It's a real-time recording of someone trying to make sense of the impossible. Then you have the complete lack of physical evidence, the fact that the plane just vanished. No wreckage means no neat conclusion. And ultimately, it just pushes right up against the boundaries of what we think we know about the world.
So at the end of the day, we're left with these 3 completely different paths. Was it just a tragic accident? A terrible case of a pilot getting disoriented? Was it a deliberate, calculated act to disappear? Or was it contact with something truly unknown? All we know for sure is that those strange metallic sounds stopped, the radio went dead, and we were left with a question that, even all these years later, still has no answer.